Making your way through work Monday takes everything you got. Then Monday night rolls around and you realize there's a shot. You're only 10 points away. All those times when your team had no fight, they're just so gosh darn frail. Then your star quarterback let another deep ball sail, and your third round pick bet on his team. Then go check out our streets where everybody knows your pain, and they listen to complaints. You wanna be where you can see our bodies bring you no shame. You wanna go where everybody knows your pain.
Welcome into another edition of the Dad Bod Fantasy Squad. It's Monday, and as always, I'm here with the boy House. How's it going, buddy?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. You ready for tonight?
I am. My terrible towel just fell on the ground. Though I was going to wave it.
I was trying to segue you into the wave, but it's okay. I'm glad you didn't.
Just fell off my shoulder as the intro ended. So
there we go.
Big fail for me.
Not looking good for Pittsburgh tonight.
Hey, we're fine. Be very careful picking it up here.
And the other host over here, Alex, what's going on, buddy?
What's going on, man? Did you guys have a good Thanksgiving?
It was good. Chill. Yeah. Nothing too crazy. I got a pretty decent sized family, so just went to the parents, about 15, 20 people. Solid day.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I ate a lot of food, but
yeah. Some drinks, some good food.
Yeah. Time to get back in the real
world.
Of
football.
Right, lots of football.
A lot of good football.
Both footballs.
Those games, all those. Honestly, all the games
all
on Thanksgiving
the footballs
were those were all pretty good games.
Yeah,
they
were good.
All right, people. So Monday night we have Pittsburgh at Indy. So we're going to get you ready for that game. And then as always on Mondays, we do our winners and losers from week 12. We will get into all the players that kind of exceeded expectations and all the players that did not meet what we thought they were going to. And we're going to dive into kind of the outlook for the rest of the season and if they are on the uptick, on the downtick, if it was just a fluke game, that kind of stuff. So let's get into Monday Night Football. House, I am just going to throw it over to you for Pittsburgh. Let me know all that I need to know about Pittsburgh for tonight. Who's valuable, who's not, who's going to have the big game, and who should we fade?
Yeah, so I don't know that anybody's guaranteed valuable here because I think both these teams have been kind of Jekyll and Hyde all year, right? So there have been good games, there have been bad games. Steelers are underdogs on the road. They've been playing a little bit better than they were before.
Defense with Watt?
Defense with TJ Watt is night and day different than it has been for the part of the season when he was out. Najee says he likes playing indoors. He likes playing on turf. So hopefully that works out well for him. I know we were talking beforehand, Rob. We each need some points out of Najee tonight.
Yep.
Low-key issue, though, Jaylen Warren's out. So that worries me a little bit for Najee because he's started his uptick since they've started using Warren more. And it's been not a full-time share, but Najee's been getting a little bit less of the work. Warren's been running hard out of the backfield, but he's out. So the backup now is Benny Snell, which I don't think anyone likes. Ultimately, I think it's if the Steelers can stop JT or not. I think they're going to get it done, though. So
they've been doing it the past, 3 weeks? 3 weeks?
Yeah. They've been solid since, again, like we said, since TJ Watt came back. Just makes that defense so much better. Do I think anybody on the Steelers offense is going to have a crazy, fantasy night? Probably not. I think Pickens, Freiermuth, and Najee are the three best plays, as they have been. But, here we go.
Yep. Yeah, I'm with you. I told you Freiermuth, I need maybe a goose egg. So that's
probably not
happening.
No, probably not.
Probably not.
I think I need him and who did I say? Michael Pittman to combine for less than 15 points together. So
probably also not going to happen.
Yeah, we'll see. Speaking of Michael Pittman, Alex, that was my guy that I wanted to talk to you about for
What
the
a
Colts.
segue.
He's been interesting this season. Like, we know the talent's there, just the offense hasn't been clicking. They're a little bit better, I guess, under Jeff Saturday for whatever reason. The offensive line's playing a lot better, so that's a big reason why. But as we talked about, Pittsburgh's defensive line has been stout as of lately. What do you expect from Pittman tonight?
I think he's going to have a pretty good game. I mean, I think he's going to get targeted every game. I think Saturday is doing more with the offensive line. Pittsburgh has been playing better, but, Pittman should have absolute minimum 7 to 8 targets this game. So whether, he snags a good portion of those, he's going to have the opportunity. I don't think, Pittsburgh can shut him down. I think he has a good night. I think he has a top 20 night, possibly a top 10 night tonight.
Interesting. I hope not. For my fantasy sake, I hope not. But that's the league I'm rolling in, so I can afford a loss. I don't like it to the guy I'm going to lose to, but is what it is. We'll see how it goes. But I'll text you guys when I win. So
good luck, buddy.
Thank you.
Oh,
I appreciate that. House, I'm expecting you think that Pittsburgh's going to take the W tonight.
I think they are. I think they're going to get it done. I think they get after Matt Ryan a little bit, even though the offensive line's been playing a little bit better.
The statue, Matt Ryan. Alex, who you got?
21-17 Colts.
Wow. Okay.
With a number on it, too.
Yeah, I know.
Boom!
He's got the Colts to cover. So
like
all you bettors, when you lose, blame Alex.
Yeah.
Yes.
Blame me.
Blame Alex. That's our go-to over here. Is just blame Alex.
Yeah.
Winners and losers from this week. Let's get into it. We're going to start with the quarterback position, as always. House, I'm going to start with you. I think there's a clear winner, a team winner, a player winner, every position upgrade winner, Mike White. He was QB4 on this week. I didn't see it coming. I thought he'd be a little bit of an upgrade from Zach Wilson. I think everybody did, but what are you expecting from him the rest of the season?
So first of all, if anybody was surprised when they put Mike White in for this week, they shouldn't have been, because when he came in last year, he did the exact same thing, right? He
looked good last year.
So I don't know what they're doing in New York. Obviously, they drafted Zach Wilson high. They're trying to play him. They're trying to see what they got. But I think that Mike White has shown, in his couple starts that he might be the guy there. Now, with that being said, rest of the season, I don't know what you're looking at, because his next two matchups are Minnesota and Buffalo. So I might temper the expectations, because you got a couple of teams there that can cause some problems for people. Detroit, Jacksonville after that. So it eases up a little bit with Detroit. Jacksonville seems to be up and down some. I think it's a good story. I think it's great for Garrett Wilson. I think it's great for that offense as a whole. But I wouldn't be running out and saying, hey, you got to start this guy top 10 every week. Pump the brakes a little bit. I think he's a good football player. I think he's a good quarterback. And he's going to be a guy, I think, that somebody picks up and gives a shot to. If not, next year, the year after, if he does this 2-3 more times where he puts on when he gets his opportunity. So, shout out to you, Mike White. Good for you.
I like it. He looked good, man. He looked good doing it, too. It wasn't fluky. It was good. And like you said last year, he had some respectable games when he came in and looked good, man. What's up, Albert? Thanks for stopping in. We appreciate it, as always. Alex, let's kick it over to you. Another winner from this week is Kirk Cousins. I have him on this list because I think a lot of us faded him this week going in because of New England. Like, that defense has been awesome against the pass. I mean, you're a New England fan, so I'm sure you watched that game. What happened, and where are we at with Kirk? It seems like 1 week he's up, 1 week he's down. Is he even playable moving forward?
Yeah, I think he's going to be playable. I mean, when I look at the league, I still consider him as he's a borderline top 10 quarterback. He's going to have weeks where he's going to be outside the top 10, but let's be honest, Justin or Jay Herb is out of the top 10 more often than in, and you're still starting him every week. So I think with Kirk, unless the situation is drastically better on your roster, you're probably playing him. I mean, he put up good numbers against Patriots who, have a pretty solid defense. And I mean, what was kind of crazy to me is Mac Jones put up the yardage he did against Minnesota, which, was supposed to have a solid defense. And
he was number 3 on my list.
Right. So, I like Kirk Cousins the rest of the year. I think you play him as a borderline top 10 QB the rest of the year. Thielen's been playing really well of late. J. Jeff's there. Hawkinson's. There's too many weapons across the board to just not play him, honestly, unless you have somebody like Josh Allen, Kyler, Hurts. You've got to play him. He's going to finish top 10. You're going to play a top 10 QB every week.
Yeah, I think you're right with that. The weapons there just make him more valuable than not.
Yeah.
Anybody could, I mean, not anybody, but obviously JJ's a
Baker
touchdown
Mayfield
waiting to happen
might
every play.
not. Right.
Yeah.
I do want to say something quick about Mike White. The way he did look, last game, and then him going against the Vikings, I would say if he performs well in the next 2 games, especially against the Vikings, I think it's something you might have to start.
I got to be honest. I'm not I know Buffalo's defense is good.
Yeah.
Their secondary is banged up, and their secondary has been getting exposed.
It's not the toughest
the past month.
Yeah, it's not the toughest schedule for the rest of the year, honestly.
I mean, Jacoby put up over 20 points, which
Right.
he's been playing great, but it's going to be, I'm excited to see the next few weeks with Mike White and see what they can do. Let's get into, so for quarterbacks, I don't like doing losers for quarterbacks. I think it's kind of tough to, unless there's a surefire, like
Zach
if Kirk
Wilson.
Cousins put up 2 points or something like that. But it's tough to kind of say, yeah, he put up 18 points, but he's a loser. I don't want to get into that. So instead of that, I'm going to give you guys a couple players I'm not worried about, but I want to know your opinion on the rest of the season outlook. How's it start with you? We talked about him earlier before we kicked in here, Justin Fields. Darnell Mooney's out. He's got that shoulder injury. He sat out this week. What are you expecting from him the rest of the season?
Yes, I think Mooney hurts. Do we know where he's at with the shoulder? I actually didn't look today.
He was warming up this game.
Yeah.
It was highly unlikely he was going to play. But with that, it wasn't a surefire sit. It was like a game time decision. So I'm assuming if not this week, the next.
Yeah, that's what I was looking to see if I could find any kind of updates on him here real quick. Thinking about Fields and what he does, right? He hasn't lit the world on fire throwing the ball. They got Green Bay, then they got the bye, which I think is good for.
So he's probably going to sit out Green Bay.
So I wouldn't be shocked if he sits out Green Bay. Give him 3 weeks, get that thing as healed up as possible. It's his non-throwing shoulder, I believe.
Correct.
But all you Browns fans know how well a quarterback can play with an injury to his non-throwing shoulder.
Well,
see Baker Mayfield.
See Baker Mayfield this year with a healthy throwing shoulder.
Well, that was the excuse, right? Coming back against Philly is going to be tough. Again, it's Philly and Buffalo would be who they face after the bye. So I think Fields is a guy that's earned the playing time as long as he can do it with his legs.
I think you're right.
The fear for me though is that they're not going to let him play as free because they don't want him to re-injure that shoulder. And I don't know that. I think they're going to be protective, trying to keep him a little bit more in the pocket, not let him ad-lib as much, which takes away from his value because that's where a ton of his values come from with his legs, right?
Yeah.
I
think it's going to be – I agree with that. But I think there's going to be a lot more I guess a lot less of him putting the shoulder down and trying to, get into the end zone as opposed to like he'll just slide.
He's got to be smart.
Yeah. Which is going to hurt his rushing upside because, that's where he did get a ton of touchdowns. He was at the goal line, just put his head down and plowed somebody over. If he's not, I'm with you, House. Like the dude has been a top 2-3 quarterback the past 2 months. Like you can't sit him. You got to see what happens.
Trade him if you can and redraft.
Yeah,
a lot of deadlines.
This might be the last. This would be the last week to do it. I don't know. You gotta get a haul.
His lowest finish since week 6 was QB 8, right?
Yeah.
8.55.117, and then he was out.
The passing threat that kind of maybe just a little bit that was there is now gone, and he's got a tough road ahead of him. I don't love it.
You're nuts, Willie. Bench him for the rest of the season.
They could. Well, I mean, if I'm the Bears, why do you play him? There's zero benefit. Absolutely zero benefit.
Because coming into the season, I don't think they were sold on him.
I think you're sold on him. I think that's the thing as the Bears is this draft got an improvement? It doesn't. This upcoming QB draft is weak.
Yeah, I also think it's going to be tough to say, hey, dude, sit out and don't get bonuses based on your performances.
It's a rookie contract. The bonuses aren't like a real thing.
I mean, it's
They're
fair,
not.
but
It's a rookie. It's pretty much like flat across the board.
But it's also like he's going for rushing yards on the season. Like the league fucking
I get it, and they're probably going to play
the record. He's going for the rushing record for QB. Like if I'm him, it'd be tough to sit. I mean, it'd be tough to tell me.
Don't you have to see what you have with him there though? Like you're not just evaluating him; you're evaluating the rest of your team. Right?
He's got what 3 wins, 3-4. Like they got 3-4 wins. They could be a top 5 pick, and if you don't know fully if he's your guy, like you have to see.
I don't know. I mean, I think he plays. I think there's like a 90% chance if he's healthy enough, they're playing him. I just think there literally is zero benefit. You're not going to see anything with just Chase Claypool and a bunch of bombs at receiver. Like, there's nothing more you're going to see. You saw what he is and what he's going to be, and with the hope of him, continually get better. But I get it. I do get playing him, but it doesn't make sense to me.
Good for you for not including Chase Claypool and a bunch of bombs, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, I would love.
I think Claypool's got. I mean, I've talked to you about this. I think he has a lot of potential, but we know Justin Fields isn't, a superb passer. His legs are getting the job done, and he's got a bum shoulder right now. And your best receiver's out, and you have tough schedule ahead of you. And it's like draft offensive linemen, draft receivers next year. Use those high picks for best athletes.
Love to see him with a decent offensive line and
a receiver,
a good receiver.
A legit
and they can do that. They could do that.
I would love to see it.
They could do that.
All right, let's get into my other guy real quick, Alex. I just want to touch on this. This is the week of Deshaun Watson.
If you got him on your squad, unless you've got like a top 5 QB, you're playing him.
What are you expecting?
I'm expecting top 12 probably every week for the rest of the season for him.
I mean, you would hope.
I mean, being realistic, if Jacoby Brissett's having some, if he's in the conversation of having top 10 and top 12 weeks, Watson's a better runner. He's a better passer. He's a terrible person, but he put up ridiculous points with bums at Houston. I don't think it's 10-7. It's the Browns.
I hate it.
You could put Peyton Manning on the Browns and then being 10-7 is wishful thinking, but
yeah, the defense is not.
It's trash, and Stefanski sucks as a coach. So
here we go. Anyways, let's get into running back position. The winners of the running back position. Let's start with you, Brian Robinson, man. First game over 100 yards, and he had a receiving touchdown. Are you sold on him moving forward? Are you still worried? Where are you at?
Yeah, I think Robinson's in that RB2 flex conversation for the rest of the year. I like it. I just saw the comment that you guys are nodding at. Yeah, don't show
Willie,
that.
You made me
Good
laugh.
job, Willie. So I think Robinson is coming into his own, right? So I think that you still have to keep an eye out for Gibson. It was funny, Brian labeled him in one of our leagues the fantasy cockroach because he just won't go away.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish that he would because I think that would just improve the stock for Robinson. So I don't think he's gonna blow you away for the rest of the year, but I think he's in that flex low end RB2 conversation, and you could be comfortable playing him.
Yeah, I think you're right. glad I dropped him in 2 leagues 2 weeks ago, but
Genius.
I started him this week. I was pretty pleased with it.
Once, when Gibson was out carrying him and getting all the receiving work, I'm like, all right, this is not looking great. And then this happens. But our number 2 winner of the week, Alex, Zeke. I hate this personally. This one killed me. Oh, hold on real quick.
Yeah. Good call, Albert. Shout out on that big hat Brian Robinson had on. If you haven't seen it, go Google it, look it up.
I thought it was fake at first.
Very early 90s culture feeling.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Let's get into Zeke real quick, Alex. Back-to-back games with at least a touchdown. He had 2 touchdowns last week. Back-to-back games with over 15 carries.
Not a surprise.
Is he in?
It's what's happening. It's the whole entire season where we watch Tony Pollard outperform Zeke, and every single week we say we know what's going to happen. Jerry Jones is going to tell Mike McCarthy to give the ball to Zeke 15 to 20 times. We know it. If anybody's expecting anything different, you're crazy. We know what's going to happen. I hate it. There's worse options than Zeke, but we all want Tony Pollard to be the guy. We want to see him get 20 carries every week. It's just not going to happen with Zeke being healthy.
Stupid.
I agree.
Speaking of Tony Pollard house, Tony Pollard's on my loser list for the week. He outcarried Zeke. I think it was 18 to 16, maybe something like that, but he only had 2 targets. No meaningful red zone snaps, really. What can we expect? Kind of what Alex just said. Are we playing him?
It's a crapshoot. I mean, I'm playing him because I'm dead. I don't want to say scraping the bottom of the barrel, but I've had a lot of injuries, a lot of things going on. I think if you're in a situation like that, Pollard's a guy that you can put out there and at least hope to have a good game. He does have the upside to where he can take one catch or one run and break a play, right?
Yeah.
So that's always nice to have whenever you got those guys that are kind of borderline. Again, I feel like he's going to continue to be in that flex conversation until they stop using him at all. 18 carries this week is nothing to sneeze at, right? He just wasn't terribly efficient. Didn't get a ton of passing work. Yeah, that's exactly right. Right, the comment that says Pollard's their home run hitter, red zone at Zeke. So
it's smart football for a team that typically doesn't make smart football decisions. They have like the number 1 or number 2 defense in the league. They want to limit turnovers, and they've got a good online and 2 good backs. It sucks, but they're both going to get a ton of touches, but Zeke's still going to get a lot of those snaps.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, Alex, you hit it on the head. We all know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But we keep praying and hoping it switches.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Okay, let me get ready for this one real quick. Tony Pollard.
Let's talk about Tony Pollard. It's your other one, Rob. It's your other one.
Pierce.
I was like, you put those eye drops in for another reason.
Alex, should we just be quiet here and let Rob have his moment?
Oh, no. Dave Pierce. Alex, another week of shitty play from Pierce and Houston.
Yeah.
They put in that. Who is the quarterback? Kyle
Allen.
I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah.
They're going up against the Browns next week. And that
don't like that.
Terrible rush defense.
I still don't like it.
Yeah. So is he just riding pine rest of the season?
No, I'm not saying that. I think he's talented enough. But I mean, you're not playing him RB2. I mean, I think matchup dependable for a flex. Like, I mean, even the Browns, it's like we're talking about the rush defense, but the Browns are going to put points up on them. They score on, their first drive pretty consistently. And with Watson back, it could be a ton of points. And the Texans are terrible. They're just a really bad team to where why would you give a running back 20 plus carries a game if you're down 30 points or 25 points. They're just taking him away from the game before he even gets a chance at this point.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we saw the last 2 weeks. But I mean, even when he got work, though, what do you have, like 8 rushes for 6 yards this week? Something like that. I mean, it was just bad.
5 rushes for 8 yards.
Oh, okay. I had it flipped. Sorry.
I mean, let's think about it. How often is there a really productive running back on the worst team in the league?
It's fair. No, it's fair. Yeah,
you know,
I think you're right.
You got to realistically think, like, if you're the worst team in the league, are you playing that running back with confidence in RB1 or RB2? You're not. They're bad teams.
Yeah, you're right, and it doesn't look good for his outlook for the rest of the season, especially like kind of on the playoff push. Like people were counting on him to be that RB2.
Looks rough too.
Yeah, it's not good. Not good.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, I should have traded him when I had the chance.
Yeah,
but I did not. So we sit.
The good news for Houston is the Browns aren't very good, so they're going to have high draft picks that they got.
Calm down, Pittsburgh.
No,
calm down. Except we don't have a couple firsts. Yeah, Houston's got our first. Yeah,
exactly. Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Houston's on their way, buddy.
Picks. 2 top 5 picks, maybe.
I don't see that, but we'll keep moving. We'll keep moving. Wide receivers. Let's get into the wide receivers. House, I'm going to kick it over to you. We talked about the Jets already. Garrett Wilson was the man there this week. QB change again helped him out. 8 targets, 5 receptions, 95 yards, 2 tutties. He finally got a guy that can get him the ball. He's just a play, right?
Yeah, I think he's got to be. As long as Mike White's in there, play Garrett Wilson. I'll put that caveat on it because you never know with the Jets. They could do something crazy and go back to Wilson at some point if they want to. But I think he's
stressed this week. Zach Wilson.
I have no idea.
I don't think he did, which was weird. That was the weird part. It looked like he was in like sweats. Because I don't think he was hurt, right? There was no.
I think he just got benched.
His feelings. That's it.
Yeah.
Just his feelings.
Too busy with mamas. Yeah.
But yeah, I think Wilson's a stud, man. He's a legit athlete. He can make every catch. He's a baller.
Easy. He just makes him look easy too.
Yeah, as long as he's got White Lightning throwing him the ball, man, we're in good shape.
Would you play Watson or Wilson? That's a good question.
Wilson if White's starting.
I think you're right. I mean, Christian Watson had a great game again, but he had a late 60-some yard touchdown with Jordan Love.
I like Watson a lot. I'm a big fan of his. But Wilson's just going to get more targets.
Yeah.
And you don't know what's going on with Rodgers with those ribs, that thumb. You know,
his thumb's messed up.
Love looked all right for the short time he played last night, but you never know what that's going to be like.
Right.
Give me some love.
So
give me some love, baby.
I know Robbie loved it.
I did. I can't wait to talk to Mario tomorrow. And we will keep on because Mario called this one out. I had no hopes for this guy, Alex. DJ Moore, same kind of thing as Garrett Wilson. QB change. Darnold comes in. He looks great again. 6 targets, 4 receptions, 103 yards, and a tutty. Where are we at with him?
It's really hard. Like I'm kind of like stuck on it because in your bigger leagues, your 12, 14 team leagues, you're playing him more than likely now going forward as a flex. In your 10 team league, there's more than likely you probably still have better options that you're putting in the flex in wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1. So until you see more with him and Darnold in your 10 team league, I still wouldn't play him unless it's desperate. In your 12 team league, he's maybe your second flex right now still. It's Sam Darnold. We saw him in 4 games look great and then turn into a poop fountain.
But DJ Moore
plays well with Sam Darnold.
He does.
Sam Darnold just throws him the ball.
Right. And who knows how long Sam Darnold plays. And who knows, it's not like they're loaded with weapons outside of DJ Moore. So they could just start double teaming him. It's like, who's the other option? Laviska Shenault or Terrace Marshall.
Yeah. I mean, give him some consistent QB play that will throw him the ball. I mean, I don't see Baker Mayfield coming back in this season at all. I just don't see it. PJ Walker might.
I don't know.
But when PJ Walker was in, DJ Moore was good. So
you use the word good like he was actually good. He was serviceable.
yeah, he was he had a couple nice games. He had a couple he was a top 10 wide receiver with them.
He had 2 top 10 weeks. He was
Yeah.
wide receiver. Oh, I'm looking at standard. Let me switch it to PPR. He was 9-5 in weeks 7 and 8.
Yeah.
And then he had 3 terrible weeks, and they brought in the man Sam Darnold.
And that's
2 terrible weeks with Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I think it's still questionable. I mean, it's one of the, it's hard for me to feel confident starting him unless it's a deep league.
I get it. I think I'm with you. I want to see it
for sure.
One more week, and obviously you want clarification on who's going to be the quarterback moving forward.
The talent's there. We all know that.
Yeah.
It's just
so they got to bye next week, then Seattle, Pittsburgh, Detroit. So
we'll see. We'll see who the quarterback
favorable
is.
finish.
We'll see who the the QB is moving forward.
Right.
A funny thing, real quick on this. So I've joked about Sam Darnold all year, and I kept talking at the beginning of the year. He was top 10 QB until he got hurt last year. As soon as they had a decent game, I got a trade offer from Mario trying to give me Sam Darnold.
Him and Brian.
House loves this guy. No, I just like to throw it out there that he wasn't as bad last year as everybody thought he was while he played. So
it was the metrics. His metrics were like QB 32 and all the advanced metrics. Keep on moving though. Let's keep on moving. So some wide receiver losers for the week. House, you talked to me about him earlier. Alex, you mentioned talent. We know talent is there. Terry McLaurin. I think we all thought he was going to have an awesome game against Atlanta. Their secondary is atrocious. 6 targets, 4 receptions, 48 yards. It's a weird one. What are you doing with him? You have him on a team, right?
I do have him on a team. I think he's still a guy that I think you're gonna play as that wide receiver 2 or that flex if you snagged a couple other receivers, because you probably drafted him in those middle rounds where you were counting on him to play
5, 6.
Yeah, he hasn't been terrible. He hasn't been great. He's got upside, and it all depends on that offense, right? I mean, he's had finishes at 11, 17, 10, 26. He's had a couple of down weeks. Not a high scoring game.
Are you worried with the game script? Because it seems like they're going more run heavy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest concern. And that's exactly the point that I was going to get to, right? We talked about Robinson earlier and kind of being the guy there. I don't think you want Heineke throwing the ball, 40, 50 times a game. So I think they're going to try and control the game with the running game. And, McLaurin's going to take a hit because of it. But I still think he's a playable receiver. Again, on these guys that are kind of that wide receiver 2 flex range, I like having guys that are in that range, but still have that potential, right, to make those big plays or to have that big game. We talked about it with Pollard. We talked about it, talking about it now with him. Those guys that have that kind of explosive capability where you could get, an 8-catch game where he gets 150 yards and 2 TDs, or even if it's 4 catches, one of them could be 60 yards and a touchdown, and that instantly kind of boosts their value. So I think he's in that realm. I think he's playable. I think he's a reasonable guy. Washington's hot right now, man. 1-3 in a row. They got the Giants coming this week.
Yeah, it was just for me, it was such a letdown because of the opponent.
Well, isn't AJ Terrell on him?
Still, man.
Ball goes through the running game for Washington.
Yeah,
and
that's where
the problem.
That's kind of what is tough. It just seems like it's going very, very run heavy.
Yeah.
In DC, which is fine because they're winning, like you said, but not great for the pass game. Alex, Christian Kirk, kind of similar. Baltimore secondary is not great. T-Law had a really nice game. He had 9 targets, which is great to see, but 4 receptions, 46 yards. Concern, no concern, just a game.
No concern. I mean, it's like Zay Jones had a ridiculous game, and it's like, how many of those has he had this season too? It's going to happen. Obviously, Christian Kirk is still their number one guy, but teams sometimes do key on Kirk, and they set it up, to try to prevent him from getting the ball, and that happens. Their wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3 might get a little bit more looks, I'm not worried about it. I think where you've been playing Christian Kirk as a wide receiver 2, high flex, you're going to continue to do that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm more concerned about McLaurin than I am Kirk.
100%. Just because of how the game. Washington's defense is good enough to where they can continuously run the ball and win games. Jacksonville's defense is not, and their passing defense is terrible. So they're going to be throwing the ball a lot. So the targets are going to be there.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
Shout out Doug Peterson for having the balls to go for that 2-point conversion. Good for him.
Yeah,
good coach.
Yeah, there were some interesting calls this week, huh? There were a couple of those.
Sure were.
Yeah, Chargers. There were some good games this week. Let's get into the tight end position real quick. Alex, House. Let's start with you, and then we'll get to Alex. House, David Njoku. 7 targets, 5 receptions, 29 yards. That big touchdown to get them into overtime.
Big touchdown.
Is he a must start moving forward with Watson coming back, or do you want?
I think he is. I think he is. It's been so long. I can't remember how well Watson supported his tight ends in Houston. I could probably go back and look it up.
He never had a great tight end.
He never had a really good one.
He had Darren Fells.
Yeah, but I think and again, let's remember this guy hasn't played in a football game in 700 days or whatever. So let's pump the brakes a little bit. You never know what that's going to look like. I think we all think it's going to look one way, but you never know when a guy's had that much time off. But I think Njoku is a guy that you have to run out there, right? The offense is okay. Cooper is a good receiver. Njoku could be a good tight end. Nick Chubb is one of the top 3 running backs, and that might be stretching that out. Might be top 2 running backs in the league.
Oh yeah.
So I think you have to play Njoku. He's weird, man. Like, he came into the league with all this hype, didn't do anything, and now he's finally putting some things together. So I hope it continues.
No more
as long as it's not against the Steelers, I'm good with it.
Hyper talented.
Yeah,
the talent
super
is
talented
there for sure. Yeah, he's a freak.
You have to start him.
That's where I'm at.
Especially the way tight ends have been. If you got a guy that you think is going to be consistent, you got to put him out there.
I think worst case, he kind of just stays kind of where he is, maybe dips a little bit, but he still remains a top 10 tight end. Best case, it becomes Watson's favorite target in a run-heavy team.
I can see either playing out, but I'm with you. I think he's a must start moving forward. He gets open. The offense kind of runs through the tight end a little bit. We'll see how this offense evolves when Watson's there, because I think there's going to be a lot of different things that they do that they have not done. So we'll see how it all plays out. But Alex, your dude, Dalton Schultz, 4 targets, 3 receptions, 2 touchdowns. I said it once, I'll say it again. I think he's a top 7 tight end with Dak Prescott back there. Are you starting him every week? I mean, is he a must start?
Probably. Yeah. I mean, we talk about the tight ends all the time. I mean, as long as Dak Prescott's healthy, I think you're starting him. I don't expect, having 2 touchdowns every game or even a touchdown every game. But I think there's enough there to where he's more than likely going to be finishing in the top 10 round, area than outside of it. So you have to. I think there's still some not so great games ahead, but there's still some big games ahead for him. So you've got to play him. I don't love it, but you have to play him.
Yeah.
Schedule doesn't look terrible. Indy, Houston, Jacksonville, then they hit Philly. and then Tennessee, Washington. So a couple good
Well-
weeks, couple of weeks where it gets tougher.
Well, Tennessee's defense really, I mean, their rush defense is good, but their passing defense is terrible.
Yes, it is very. They're really bad against the tight end.
They're bottom 5 in the league in pass defense.
Yeah. Speaking of not so good, House Cole Kmet. I did not
What a
know
roller coaster.
I didn't know what to expect coming into this game without Fields. He set the world on fire, and then 2 weeks back to back under 8 points, 7 points, 9 targets, which was that's Kirk. I'm sorry. I don't have his stats in front of me, but
6 targets,
6 targets,
3 catches,
which isn't bad. I mean,
27
that's not
yards.
bad. 6 targets for a tight end is pretty good. Where are you at if Fields is in, and where are you at if Fields is out?
If Fields is not in, I'm 100% out. If Fields is in and looks somewhat like he has looked the last 6 weeks, then I think that he's a borderline start for you, which is kind of where I think he was as Fields started to kind of take off. Kmet started to take off, right? They kind of went hand in hand. So I think you're looking at it from what does Fields look like when he comes back? You know, are they letting him play? Are they not? Kind of what we talked about before. I don't love it though. I think he's a guy that if you were relying on him, I think you might want to see what's out there and what you can pick up. Again, the way tight ends have been worries me for the rest of the season. Unless Fields looks exactly like he did before he got hurt.
Yeah. It was a weird one for Chicago, right? So they had Fields in play, then Simeon gets hurt in warmups, then they put Peterson out there, then Darnell Mooney goes down. It was just kind of like a perfect. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know if I'm chalking it up to like just how crazy that game panned out for them. Their game script was probably completely thrown out the window.
100%.
Yeah, we'll see, man. It's gonna be. You got this week with probably no Justin Fields and then a bye, so you got 2 weeks of zeros.
Yeah, I think you're not playing him. I don't think you're playing. You're obviously not playing him this week. You're not playing him next. I think it depends on how deep your league is. You know, in some of the dynasty leagues, you know, your 12s, your 14s, you might be carrying 2 tight ends. Anything less than a 12-teamer, in my opinion, if you're carrying 2 tight ends, you're wasting a roster spot. The only time that I would have 2 of them on my team is if I have one of those elite guys, Andrews, Kelsey, and they're on a bye, then I pick somebody else up and then immediately drop that guy afterwards. So that's my tight end philosophy is anything less than 12 teams. If you're carrying more than one, you're wasting a spot.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Alex, last guy we're going to talk about, Trey McBride. 1 point. Is he droppable?
Yes.
No faith.
Not really. This offense is just – it kind of seems like everybody
weird
on this team is kind of just done with Cliff Kingsbury. And I think, you know, like Kyler talking about the schemes and this and that. And I don't know. He's not Zach Ertz. I'm probably not playing him. I don't know. You really have to be desperate to play Trey McBride. Unless you're seeing it consistently, you don't want anything to do with him. I mean, it's like we were talking about Cole Kmet, where we saw a couple of weeks of it. But even with Justin Fields back, it might be tough going forward with Mooney out. Like, you know, they know that's his only, you know, other target. So it's rough, man. It's just we always go back to it. It's a rough tight end year. You don't love it at all. I mean, I got like who's tight end 2 right now? TJ Hawkinson maybe, and half of his season has not been great.
Him,
I don't have it in front of me
because you have Kelsey, and then Andrews is hurt, and you know, it's like Hawk is your tight end 2 right now. Like, he's good, but it's been a rough year.
Andrews is still 2.
Oh, is he?
Hawk 3, Dallas Goedert. Then you got, I mean, Goddard's hurt. Zach Ertz is hurt. Kittle just put up like 3 points.
Right.
And then Njoku, who's, I mean, that's why I'm so high on Njoku. I think when he's in, he just produces.
You're just hopeful with Watson it continues, but I would feel more comfortable starting Njoku. Like if I had to choose, like put him in your top 5, I'm probably putting Njoku in my top 5 right now.
I think if you were, I think you were in a bad spot if you were playing Trey McBride anyway. Right?
Oh yeah,
it's a lot of the Zach Ertz.
Yeah, we hoped that he was going to be,
waiver wire didn't exist for you apparently. Yeah, if you have McBride, you didn't use a waiver wire, you didn't trade, you've done enough damage to your team by yourself.
There's a bunch of guys that I think you would have picked up ahead of him that aren't crazy possibilities like Gesicki, Fant, Tunyon, like all those guys could have been available.
Here's a question: do you drop Evan Ingram now? Like you just are done?
That's where it's at, man. Like
Gerald.
I mean, you could say the same thing about Everett. You could say the same thing about a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of these guys that had some decent weeks early on, or we had some hype for coming into the year.
Higbee, Tyler Conklin. I mean, is Conklin more relevant now that Mike White's there? I mean, Hayden Hurst has been playing decent.
Mm-hmm. And I don't love that.
No, and it's like he's tight end. He's tight end 9.
What's Robert Tunyon right now? Like 13, 14?
Tunyon is 15.
That's what I'm saying. He's so bad.
Tight end 9, and he has 3 games inside the top 10. 1-8, 1-9. It's wild. Like it's just crazy how inconsistent.
I want to drop Robert Tunyon, but I can't because just all the other tight ends available are trash.
Yeah, I mean, it's a crapshoot week to week. You're just throwing darts and hopefully one hits, right?
Yeah, it sucks.
We got a tight end question. I think we talked about it a little bit last week as one of our guys, but what about Freiermuth? You guys top in?
10.
I need a goose egg tonight, Willie.
Nah, man. That guy's
he's top 10. But like now it's like if he's top 10, it's like that could be 7 points this week.
I'll take 7.
I'm confident running him out there every week.
You have to.
Even as bad as the Steelers have been.
Yeah, you have to.
If you have Freiermuth, I'm saying play him every week.
That's the thing, right? I think there's
you have to
5 or 6 tight ends you run out every week.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
Yeah.
Other than that, like you can say matchup, but even matchup based, like we've talked about it, doesn't.
I bet Taysom Hill is still a top 25 tight end. He had 2 games.
Taysom Hill is 16.
That's my point. Like this is such a crappy year for tight ends. It's like Taysom Hill played 2 games.
He's above Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
Remember when we thought Kmet was going to have 100 targets this year, and he has 46?
Yeah.
Well, that's why I want to continue to remind, Fields is looking good. His legs are looking good. He's made some big throws, but I'm also still like, he is not a passing QB. Like, pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
He's a fantasy QB. He's going to win you some games, but he's in the Jalen Hurts position without Jalen Hurts' team.
Oh, Jordan Akins. Real quick, we'll touch on him real fast. He had a great game with this quarterback. If he continues to play, are you picking him up?
Who, Akins?
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends what I see next week. If it's
too late.
Huh?
Might be too late.
What? Oh.
Somebody might have snagged him, is what he's trying to tell you, Alex.
Yeah.
Pay attention.
No, I understand what he's saying. I'm just saying, really, I don't.
I mean, well, I'm just saying, like, even if you don't, right? Say you don't pick him up this week, he has a good game next week, top 10. With this quarterback, the quarterback's going to continue to play. Everyone's going to be trying to get him on waivers.
I think, if you have a tight end that's outside the top 8, then it's a possibility.
It's tough year for tight ends.
But we've seen this. That's the thing. It's like we see 2 good games.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody puts in a $30 waiver wire.
You're right.
And then it's dog shit. It's just, I think it's now near the end of the season where people, whatever waiver wire money they have left, they're keeping that for injuries to running backs and starting receivers. You're not wasting it on a tight end that might be your tight end 10 by a point or two.
That's fair. I'm with you. We'll try to get you guys through the tight end position the best we can, but what we're saying is we have no idea. So good luck.
Ugly.
Good luck. Have fun. Hopefully you hit a home run. Hopefully Freiermuth sucks this week. And hopefully Michael Pittman puts up a goose egg too. That's what I need. And I should have a nice week.
You should just play the Powerball while you're at it, Rob.
Couple. I was trying to win the Mega Million. But anyway, this was a fun one. I like this one a lot. We'll get in here, in and out. Short and sweet. Under an hour. Start cutting out.
Try again.
Yeah,
Hello.
Rob, you're in and out.
Am I good?
You're good.
Yeah.
Here we go. All right, everybody. This was a fun one. Go get ready for Monday Night Football. You can, if you don't follow us on Twitter, DadBotFS. We are on YouTube and Twitch at DadBot Fantasy Squad. We are on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, House.
All those other major platforms.
He knows what it is.
Yeah.
For House, for Alex, I'm Rob. This is DadBot Fantasy Squad. Go have fun.
Don't forget to watch the USA tomorrow.
Yeah, 2 o'clock.
USA.
1 o'clock. 1 o'clock.
USA.
1 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Cover.